Hi there. Welcome to this training session brought to you by a partnership between Dell Technologies and Advanced Learning Partnerships, which is ALP. I am coming to you through the Dell Texas Learning Network, and this is a June 7th training on increasing collaboration and creativity among your students. So there I am. My name is Eileen Fernandez Parker. You can reach me at eileen@cultivatingthelearning.com. You can text me on my mobile, and you can also tweet to me using the @cultivatelearn hashtag, handle. And then you can also, if you use any of what I'm showing you in this presentation, or if you like what you see, if you would, go ahead and post it on Twitter or on Facebook, and then add the hashtag ALPLearn, and either tag me with my handle, or you can do hashtag CultivateLearn as well, because I'd love to see how you're doing. All right. So we are talking about collaboration and creativity. In my own experience, what my teachers found as we taught them station rotation for blended learning, I'm just going to do a quick preview of station rotation. Normally there are 3 stations. There could be more. You might just start out with 2, but usually there is a teacher-led, where the teacher is pulling a small group at a kidney table or up around a desk. There's an independent, which could be you're reading silently. If it's English, they might have a story to read, or they could be on some digital software like No Red Ink or Achieve 3000. If it's math, they might be on Alex. They're, iReady. There are all different kinds of things. Khan Academy. The third station is the collaboration station. And the reason that the collaboration station is so important, and I didn't realize this at first, is that this is based off of some research coming out of Australia with John Hattie. He does research on what he calls visible learning. And it's only visible if you measure it, right? We can no longer say, I can tell they got it by the looks on their faces or by how many hands were raised. That's really not scientifically sound. And so what we need to do is measure their learning, and that's how we know the growth. The collaboration station is so important because in John Hattie's research, and everything is based on science and numbers and facts, he found that a student, just by maturing, grows 0.2. In just a traditional classroom, where the teacher is doing most of the talking and the kids, it might be an I do, we do, you do, or it could be I'm going to lecture for how to do something and then you're going to practice it. The student grows 0.4. Here's the kicker. When the students are doing the talking, the students grow at 0.8, twice the amount as when the teacher is doing all the talking. So yes, there are times when the teacher needs to do some talking in a mini lesson, right? And then set them off to discuss on their own. So that was what we figured out, first of all, in understanding the why behind a collaboration station. Now, what we found when our teachers, and this was elementary, middle, and high, K to 12, it did not matter. Excuse me. What we found was that our students had few skills in talking to one another appropriately. They were off task. They were not polite to one another. They didn't know how to proceed. And so what we then discovered was that that other teachers had already been through this. And if we just Googled the word sentence stems, then Google offers us Google Stems for discussions, for examples, for writing, for citing evidence, for kindergarten, math discussion, etc. So I have very content-specific sentence stems that I can grab off the internet because other teachers have already figured this out. Let's not reinvent the wheel, okay? So what I want to show you is that I came up with 7 steps to building stronger collaborators in your classroom. So that's what I want to go over with you now. And you should be able to turn around and use these instantly. You're not going to be able to jump all the way to step 7 in a day. This is building. So if you think about yourself the way a physical therapist thinks about healing a person who is injured, right? Or making a leg stronger or a muscle stronger, they have to start out with certain exercises and then build upon it. So you need to do the same thing to build strong collaborators. We'll call it their collaboration muscle. Okay, so step 1 is to start in a platform that allows students to respond in writing. So if you use Google Classroom, that's a great place to start. You can use Padlet, you can use Flipgrid, you can use Jamboard, you can use different whiteboards, you can use a blog that you create that has threading so that the students can then respond to one another in a thread through your blog that you can lock down so that whether they're kindergarten or grade 12, their answers are safe and we don't have to worry that anybody can contact them, okay? So using a commenting platform is going to be the best place to start. Let's start talking in writing first. Okay. Now, once you've practiced that some, and there are also discussion questions in Google Classroom, and that's an ideal place to start. So once we have done that, excuse me, or while we're doing that, right, we need to go over what makes a quality comment, because this is how students learn how to speak to one another. So the first thing I want to show you are these accountable talk items. And I have it opened up already over here. And what we see is that you can print this out and hang it up on your wall, or you can copy them and cut them out so that kids can tape it to their desk or have it on a cardstock and pull it out when the time comes. But they've got everything they need. And this is all the stuff they never taught my generation when I was in school. So how do you affirm somebody, right? How do you connect one idea to your idea? How do you agree with somebody? How do you disagree? Okay. So disagreeing is usually where we get in kind of muddy waters. So you can start with, I disagree because, or could it also be that, or this idea doesn't seem to fit with blah, blah, blah. Very polite, not offensive, and it should not put the person on defense. So maybe you need some clarification. Could you explain that again? Say more about that. What do you mean when you say? Or you want to piggyback. So I agree with you and I'm going to add something. Then you can also ask for support. Where is that in the text? Because I can't find it. Or could you give an example? And then I noticed blank here in the text. And this is what it says, or in our notes it says. So you're referring to an actual item, artifact that you want to bring into the discussion. You can summarize, you can inquire. Now, this second section down here is super important. It's about norming, right? So what is appropriate? What are the guidelines for our discussion? And we've got this, say something meaningful, listen with intent, and then this mnemonic slant is over here on the right-hand side. So we can't throw all this at kids. We might be starting with this bottom portion first and this slant. So sit up, look at the speaker, act like you care, nod your head, and take turns. So this slant can work in any classroom at any level. And then, so after number 2, be flexible with your thinking, which is open-mindedness, right? And then address the point, not the person. So this might be a good opportunity for you to do some role playing, which you're going to see in a video that I'm going to share with you next. Okay. So this is your accountable talk. And this is available all in this slideshow, but also you can just Google this, right? And you'll find it. You can also Google sentence stems, and they are similar. They're just not as pretty as this is. Okay, so here we go back here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop out this video and I'm going to play it. I'm going to go full screen so that you'll be able to hear it and see it clearly.
Collaborative conversations are the meaningful, interactive discussions about academic topics that occur between students. In this clip, Wiley Blevins engages students in purposeful classroom discussion to build group knowledge about a text the class is reading. Notice that Mr. Blevins provides students with clear guidelines and routines for engaging in these highly interactive classroom activities. He also uses role play to model how to conduct conversations.
Something special I want you to work on it. We've been working on it all year during our small group work is having really strong collaborative conversations. And I want to review our rules for collaborative conversations because I want to be monitoring that as you talk in your group. So let's read these collaborative conversation guidelines together. Ready? Number 1.
Stay on topic.
Number 2.
Connect your own ideas to things your partners say.
Number 3.
Look for ways to connect through personal experiences plus knowledge to the convention.
And number 4.
Follow partner talk rules.
What are some of those partner talk rules? What's something really important when you're talking to a partner? Yes.
Don't interrupt.
Don't interrupt. Yes, let your partner finish their idea. Lauren.
Whisper.
Yes, we want to talk in our inside voices. Only your partner should be able to hear you, not the class across the hallway, correct? What else? Bryce.
Be respectful.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means to not say that their idea is dumb.
Excellent. We want to remember that throughout our conversations today. Okay, so to make sure you really get the idea of what a collaborative conversation is and what I'm looking for when I'm listening in your conversations, I want to role play a collaborative conversation with one of you. So who is brave enough to be my guinea pig? Jace, you want to come on up?
Yes, sir.
Are you brave enough?
Yes.
Great. Well, I'm going to ask you a question and we're going to start our conversation just like you are with your partners.
Okay.
So what is an invention that you really like and how has it impacted your life?
I like the Apple, Steve Jobs. He's the one who created all the Apple products. It's just like it's a tablet that's like a mini computer with games on it.
Do you smell hot dogs?
No.
It smells like we're having hot dogs for lunch.
No, I do not. And stay on topic.
Well, I don't really like Apple and those products. What about cell phones? Do you want to talk about cell phones?
Not.
Do you have a cell phone?
Yes.
And do you like your cell phone?
Yes.
Is that more interesting than Apple?
No.
So how did we do?
Bad.
Yeah. Which of these guidelines did we not follow? You may have a seat. Thank you. Talea.
You didn't stay on topic.
Right. Who broke topic?
You.
Right. I didn't answer what he was, or I didn't respond to what he was saying. So I also didn't connect my ideas to what he was saying. Any other of the guidelines I didn't follow? Deontay.
Follow partner talk rules?
Yeah. What did I not do?
You said, I don't like Apple. Let's talk about cell phones.
So I wasn't being very
Nice.
respectful.
Yeah,
right.
I don't
So
like
we're not going to do any of the things I did. We are going to have a great conversation. So I need another volunteer to come up and let's have a great collaborative conversation. Courtney, come on up. This is more like what I want to see. So Courtney, what is an invention you like and how has it impacted your life?
I like my iPod Touch.
And what are some of the fun things that you do with your iPod Touch?
I play games and I get on the internet.
Yeah, and I like mine because I can get on the internet and find the news or articles or even read things on it. Now, did you have any devices before that were similar? Or is this the first electronic device like that you've had?
I also like my laptop.
Okay. And what's different about your iPad Touch and your laptop?
My iPod is touchscreen. My laptop you can't touch.
So the touchscreen is really a breakthrough or an advance over the computer. We can't touch our computers and do the same thing, can we? Great. So you see how I'm bouncing my ideas off of Courtney's ideas, and I'm really exploring what she likes before I start talking about mine? Yeah. That's what I want to have. Thank you, Courtney.
You just made all these tablets that are touchscreen. They can go on the computer. You can play games. It's just like a mini computer.
All right, so in that video, you can see that a lot of these accountable talk items were being used when it was the proper statement, okay? And so he seemed to be piggybacking on what the kids were doing. Now, in the first one, he was completely off topic. So if your students, if you, in the beginning, require them to use one of these for sure, no matter what, then you almost can't go wrong, okay? Now I'm going to show you a second quick video about, and these are, the first classroom was probably maybe a 5th grade, but I taught high school and middle school, and I for sure could still do this with them. I just would have to choose my vocabulary maybe differently. And in this one, this is going to be about how to write a quality comment. And you could even use these videos to show directly to your kids.
Hi, it's Mrs. Yolis from California. Panda and I are here to talk about commenting. You know, the comment section is my favorite part of the blog. That's where people can respond to what you've written. You can write back to them. You can get some great conversations going in the comment section. So let's talk about what makes for a good comment. My students have some excellent tips for you.
I like your shirt. Thank you. You're welcome. We're talking about complimenting. Whenever you leave a comment, it's always nice to open with a specific compliment. If you like the blogger's writing, tell them. If the blogger uses navigate, compliment them. Be positive and be specific. It's always good to add factual information to your comment. For example, if someone's writing about the Statue of Liberty and you've seen it or read about the Statue of Liberty, go ahead and write some new factual information. How old is it? How tall is it? Be sure to look at the comment section to make sure no one has written what you want to say. And if no one has, go ahead and write it. Have fun adding factual information to your comment. To make a comment better, it is nice to have a connection with the writer. Connections remind people of things. For example, let's say your friend published a post about their camping trip, and it reminded you of hiking at Big Bear. Then you might want to share some facts about your trip. That is how you make connections with the writer. It's always a good thing to ask relevant questions at the end of your comments. Try to get a conversation going. Exactly. For example, if someone posts something about ladybugs, and you are wondering something about their lifespan or the colors that they come in, then you should ask. Hopefully the blogger will respond to you. For example, another example is that Miss McGeady and I got a little conversation going in one of the posts called Fabulous Fall. We talked about the trees, and I asked her how many trees she has in her backyard. She responded, and I'm really happy I got the answer. It's always a good thing to get a little conversation going at the end. If you get a conversation going, then drop by and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear about it and learn about it. See you later. Bye. The last step for leaving quality comments is to proofread. Panda here is going to teach us some tips about proofreading. What's that, Panda? Yeah, I will. Panda says that always at the beginning of your sentence, you use capital letters, and at the end, you use punctuation. What else, Panda? Sure. Always use only one exclamation mark. And if you want to really show your excitement, use more words, not more exclamation marks. Finally, he says if you use the pronoun I, always capitalize it. Panda and I wish you happy blogging.
Wow, those were some great tips. Thanks, Panda. So now that we know how to write a great comment, let's get out there and leave some quality comments for our blogger friends. Good luck, everybody.
All right, very good. So even though these kids clearly are upper elementary, all of the things that they said ring true for all levels, because our kids have been raised on social media and some of the worst behaviors ever. And if we allow them to think that that is acceptable, then we're setting them up for failure in the end. So feel free to make your own video that is like this, or just by cutting out clips or whatever you need to do. But teaching your kids how to make a quality comment is important.
Remind people of things. For example, let's say...
All right. So step 3, now that you have explained to your kids how to write a quality comment, then you want to practice it. Okay. So you're going to be introducing and practicing your accountable talk phrases, and to be able to practice it, you might be doing it in starting out, of course, in writing at first, but then you can start to do whole class practice. And remember, we are modeling to deprogram our children because they have seen all of the worst habits first. So it's going to take longer to deprogram them. All right, so we are going to start with large group with the teacher monitoring, or the kids will give the teacher their ideas and together they will write a comment that is acceptable. You can also then start doing large group, whole group talking, discussions. So if you're familiar with Socratic seminar, this is a discussion format where the teacher is not allowed to jump in or interject except with another question. And the students are supposed to start to use their sentence starters at the beginning of all of their answers. If you're familiar with inner circle, outer circle discussions, it's very Socratic in nature. And then some people call fishbowl discussions. They're also very Socratic. So all of these give kids the opportunity to do the talking. Okay, so we want to make sure that the kids have the opportunity to do all of the talking. But the first few times you do it, it's going to be whole group so that the teacher is monitoring and, the kids can give pointers to one another. So instead of saying, oh, well, you did this wrong, you would ask the kids, what is your feedback? Give us some comments. And they would practice, right? Compliment them in some way. John, I like the way you did such and such. I'm wondering if you could have used this sentence starter, something like that. Okay. So it's going to be large group first. And this is speaking now. So then you're going to break the group. Once you feel like the kids have had enough practice as large group, then you're going to split the room into multiple smaller groups. So again, the teacher is not with any one group. The teacher is going around and monitoring the groups and what they're saying. So it would be the same type of question, that Socratic type question that doesn't necessarily have a right answer. So it is open to different interpretations and different factual information, but you're going to break them up and have them be sitting at their groups and talking. This could be a good opportunity to use if you've got Swivel software. This would be a great opportunity to use that. You can also, though, just ask your kids to use one of their devices to record the conversation so that they can then turn that audio file in and they could listen to one another's discussions and then give feedback that way. It's not necessarily always for the teacher to do all of the feedback. Because again, you're empowering kids and you're helping them as they evaluate somebody else's collaborative discussion. They are processing, they're evaluating, and they are owning, the feedback that they give. So we've gone from whole group to multiple small groups, but still the teacher is walking around. And then we're going to finally move to unsupervised collaboration stations. So again, remember, with my teachers, this was the hardest part. And the unsupervised collaboration station would happen when we've got a 3-station rotation going. And there is a teacher-led, and there is some kind of an online independent station, and then there's a collaborative group. So the teacher's not going to be available to listen. In the beginning, definitely have the kids record their conversations and make sure you have an exit ticket for any and every station. And if you, there's another session that I did that is on increasing student empowerment, and I share out some student trackers. So if you're interested in learning more about how to empower kids, right, and make them more responsible for themselves, you might want to check out that training as well. So this is step 6 of 7. They don't get to unsupervised collaborative stations until step 6. So you've definitely got some work to do. But keep in mind that as more and more teachers are using this format, then the kids will come to you with more skills each year. So it should take less time each year. But again, with the time factor, we are setting our kids up to be able to answer questions on the spot in interviews for college and for jobs. We're helping them to become a little bit more comfortable in discussions, right? These are life skills that if we don't do these things, we are robbing our children of the opportunity to build them now in a safe environment, okay? Now, step 7 is always going to be reflect and debrief. So it's going to be important for you to save time at the end of each of these steps to get feedback from the kids and let them debrief. It might be a Google Forms or a Microsoft Forms exit ticket where the kids just have to tell you how it went, and you can create the questions based on what you saw happening or what you think needed to be done. And of course, you can change them and iterate and make it better each time. So some reflection tools, the kids can have journals that they write in with real paper and pencil. They can have blogs. And if you're using Blogger, that's a 13 and up app only. But Otis, if you're using Otis as your LMS, that has a built-in blog that you don't have to worry about locking down. You can just use Google Docs or Google Sites as a blog that the kids can build themselves. You can use Microsoft Word, so the kids are just journaling there. You can use Flipgrid so that they can do video journals and just keep reflecting there, okay? We've got Google Classroom too for discussion questions, forms. You can do Think, Pair, Share just in the room. ClassKick is another app that you might like. It has both a written and an audio feature. And then Nearpod and Pear Deck and Seesaw. So there are tons of reflection tools that you can use. The tough thing for teachers is giving up the time to reflect. So please do not be stingy with time for reflection, because reflection is where the learning happens, because the kids have time to stop and process. Okay? All right. And on this slide, I've linked, this is an infographic that I originally made. And you can get this infographic at my blog. So if you go to cultivatingthelearning.com, you can get it. If you have access to this slideshow, you'll be able to just click on the picture or down here on this link. Now over here on the right, this is an Alice Keeler lesson plan specifically for collaboration. Okay. So when I click on this and it opens up, Alice Keeler is the owner of this file, so you would have to go to File, Make a Copy, okay? And she's got everything laid out here so that you've got your learning objective, you're really focusing on how are students going to collaborate, which tool are you going to use, what's the description, etc. So Alice Keeler is still in the classroom. She teaches math. She's phenomenal, and so I would definitely recommend trying this out. Okay, I'm going to close out these extra slides. And now the second part of our training is about increasing student creativity. So what we have found with a lot of the devices is that they're being used at the substitution level and just for consumption. So it's that empty vessel pedagogy where the instructor knows everything and we're basically filling the empty vessel, which is the student. We want to get away from that because if we're looking at Bloom's, we need to get to the top of Bloom's, which is creation, right? So evaluation is also very popular, but what I want to show you are some ways that we can increase student creativity. So the top tools for creativity that are in whichever suite you're using, they are Google Slides and Microsoft PowerPoint. So it doesn't matter which platform you use, you can use the tools similarly, okay? So I want to draw your attention to this website that has all the information that you're going to need. So if you're watching this, you can get this website by going to bit.ly/slides-Swiss. And the reason it's Swiss is because I don't know if it was Casey Bell who coined the phrase, but she started to say that Google Slides really is the Swiss Army knife of all of the apps. And so it caught on. So this website is not by Casey Bell. Instead, it is by Anne. Whoops, let me get back here. Here we go. It's by Anne Witherspoon. So this is a public website that was created with Google Sites. So if you are a Google district, definitely look into Google Sites because it is the simplest website creator available. So she has this quick tutorial that I'm just going to go through. And you can actually move through the slides by using the arrows down here. You don't have to actually open up the slideshow. So this is just about 3 tips that she considers the top 3 that you should know how to do, okay? So the first is changing your slide page setup. And all of these directions are for Google Slides, but you should be able to do this in PowerPoint as well. So you're going to go to File, Page Setup, and then you're going to change it. You're going to click on this down arrow and choose Custom, and then you can put in whatever size you want. So if you are trying to do desktop publishing, then you want to make it an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper so that it will print out exactly that way. And you might say, well, why wouldn't I just use Google Docs? The reason is because you don't have the flexibility that you have in Slides. In Slides, you can drag things around, but Docs can basically do images, tables, and text, and that's all you can get, right? But in Slides, we can do all different kinds of things. So the number one thing that you need to know how to do and teach your kids is to change the slide size, okay? So here's an example of, this is more like an 8.5 by 11. So kids can use it for writing books. They can write books in slides. All right, the second thing you need to know how to do is to change your background. And to do that, you can go to up here on the, when you click in the margins, this background button will appear. And when you click on that, you will change the background. And you can put an image as your background, or you can click in the drop down and choose a specific color. Okay. And then these are some examples of different backgrounds that were changed, because if the kids want to create some kind of a plot line here, they can do that. Or they can just always have a palm tree in their slide. Okay. Now, you can also change what used to be called the slide master, but now I'm going to switch over to, I'm going to add a new Google slideshow so that I can show this to you quickly. Google just changed this like within the last 2 weeks. If you go to view, this used to say master, but now it says theme builder, and it's been updated. And you can go in here and change the master. So if I put something on this master theme slide, like let's say I make the background, let's see. I have to make sure I don't click on a text box. I'm going to go to change background. And if I make this a pale yellow, and I hit done, because I did it to this top slide, it automatically applies to all of the other slides. Okay. So if I want to change my font, if I don't like this font and I want it to be courgette, there I can do that. I can also change this font and make it bigger. And when I do it to this master, it applies to all of these. If I just want it to apply to one of these, like maybe I don't want every slide to be yellow. Maybe I just want this one to be, I don't know, pale green. Notice here it is. And now when I click on my, I'm going to X out of this. When I click on my drop down for a new slide, notice the changes have taken place. So what you change in your theme builder will apply to all slides, okay? So again, this is just helping kids to learn some top level skills. But what I really want to show you is on this website, this was just the front page. Over here on the drop-down menu, we've got all these different ways that you can use slides for creativity. So we've got, when we hit beyond doing just presentations with it, kids can do timelines in Google Slides. They can create what might look like a mini website. And again, you can just click through. You can do hyperdocs inside it. And the kids can build their own hyperdoc once they've practiced it, right? It's really powerful for doing flyers, graphic designs, because you can move things wherever you want, line them up, resize them without messing everything up. So that's just one of all of these. They can do digital notebooks, and there are usually templates attached for you to use. What I love is you can do comics. I just love this. And so as you go through this slideshow, they've got the why, they've got ideas for how to, and then farther down, there are templates that you can use. So if you copy this, you can pop it out this way by clicking in the top right-hand corner. And then once you're here, you can see all of the different slides. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump back here and go to home. So Storyboard That is a comic strip maker, right? That used to be free and now it's not. So this is called Storyboard This, right? For a play on words. And inside slides, you can create your own comic strip. So this is a blank slide, and then this is one that's partially filled in. So on this over here, we've got a video project storyboard, which is used in the industry. So storyboarding is a real thing that before anyone builds a video, they always map it out. So you can use it for video boarding, for storyboarding for a video, but this could also just be a comic strip, okay? And then if they have multiple pages, they can then turn it into a flip book if they wanted to. So some other things that we've got going on here. Here's an animated flip book. And these are directions for how to do it. Gamification. And so what happens is the kids are picking up artifacts along the way. When one of the projects that my 8th graders did one year was we read the Odyssey, and they had to follow the hero's journey, and they made game boards. And I still have one. I kept it because I just loved it. And it was based off of like Monopoly or Chutes and Ladders or whatever, card game you want, or board game, that you want. But the kids did the creating, not me. And so our kids can be creating all sorts of things, and they learn in the process of creating. So these are just this is an example of a really, really well-made, interesting game, digital game, okay? I'm going to come back up here to my menu again, and there is a templates gallery on here. And way back when I taught computer apps, I was teaching PowerPoint, and we definitely did animations using PowerPoint. So you just have to animate it and then add the transitions, okay? So these are all examples of different templates that you might find helpful in Google Slides, but these can also be converted right to Google PowerPoint, okay? So there's a choice board. There's an online learning planner, e-portfolios, elementary newsletters. You can have your kids creating their own newsletters, right? If they take on a certain personality, they can become that person, and they can create any of these from that point of view. Here's a nice character profile one that as an English teacher, I would have loved. And it's just nice because the template is already made for you. And so the idea of having things look pretty is not as stressful because it already looks pretty. And all you have to do is focus on the content, okay? So all of these are examples of things that you can do with Google Slides and Google PowerPoint, okay? Let's see what else is here. Thinking maps, video storyboarding, etc. Vocabulary. All right, so up here, we also have some, we have digital notebooks that the kids can use. Oh, I showed you that already. The social media is super cool. So, our kids love social media, and we can mimic social media using these templates. So right here, you've got, this is for Snapchat. You've got different emojis that they can use. Over here, you've got an Instagram template that they can mimic, right, for whatever their project is. And then this is a whole folder of templates. They've got a fake book template right here, a fake tweet, a TikTok, and a Twitter fictional account. So if you use the concept of becoming the chemistry element, right? or becoming the animal in biology, or becoming a character from a novel, or becoming a comma, right? Or becoming a number, a fraction, a percent, and then having the student show his knowledge by any of these posts. That is so much more creative than just having them explain it, right? And they're going to enjoy it more too. So if they're enjoying themselves, that's going to stick with them a lot longer than if they're just doing it to get it done. Okay. All right, let's see what else is here. We've got slides, resources as well. So a lot of these that are up here on this board now are sites that are handing out free templates. So this Slides Mania is one of my new favorites. And when you come to this site, she's got all the free templates here, but just her most recent ones here. So if you want a bulleted journal template, you can get it. Summer book clubs. So everything is by theme. Super, super creative. Very helpful. Here's a game board one that looks super fun. And all of her templates can be done in either, can be opened up either in Google Slides or in PowerPoint. So you're covered. You've got mail. There are just too many. This is like Pinterest all in one place. I could hang out here for hours. Okay. Okay. So that is it for slides and PowerPoint. So what I want to also show you is Canva. So if I go to Canva, there's no S at the end, canva.com. Now for this, you do need to have an account, okay? So if I were to sign out, I want to show you that the kids can log in with their Google account, but you should definitely get it checked by your district to make sure there are no COPA or FERPA infringements, okay? But Canva has become the go-to for creative projects. So if I click, this is recommended for me. Up here, we've got templates. We have all these different social media templates. So the kids could go, if they want to mimic Facebook. These are more for posting on Facebook. So maybe that's not what we want right now. I'm going to go over to education. Here we go. So classroom decor kits, lesson plans, worksheets, certificates, bookmarks, class schedules. So a lot of this is more for the teacher. If I look here at marketing, they can create posters, flyers, infographics, brochures, newsletters, proposals. So if I click on infographics, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look down here to see which infographic I think works best with my project. So if I have to do a timeline, this one in the middle is super nice, but this one is also super nice, right? And this one on the right by dates. If I come back down, if I've got data, we have this one that's all about sugar. So the kids can visualize their data, which is super powerful, especially for the kids who are right-brained. So I'm left-brained, which means I'm logical sequential. I'm much better with numbers and words than I am with pictures. But your students who are left-brained are going to be very strong with visuals. And so this could be very enjoyable to them. And also it could help them to present information in a way that they think. Okay. So look at all of these options that you've got in Canva just for infographics. Okay. So I'm going to go back up to the top again, and I'm going to go to templates, and I'm going to come over here and look at brochures now. And so I'm not going to be able to go into how to use Canva, but it is just so simple that you could almost just say to the kids, you know, who wants to figure this out and teach the rest of the class? And I'm sure they would do a fantastic job. So with these brochures, notice it says 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. So because it's supposed to be a front and a back of the brochure, it's already laid out that way. And it lets you preview them just by hovering over the individual brochure. So the kids could pick from a gazillion brochures on this page to create a brochure on whatever content they need to create. There's also one for newsletters here. And so you've got all of this coming in, all these different kinds of newsletters that they can pick from as well. All right, so that is Canva. So the best tools for creation right now are your slideshows and this Canva. And then to get kids thinking creatively, right, you can use sites like Flipgrid and Padlet, etc. Okay, so let me just jump back here. So remember, give yourself grace. You're trying to increase student, you're trying to increase student creativity and collaboration, right? And you are giving them empowerment by doing this. So sometimes things will go wrong, and that's okay. It's important for you to model for your kids that I'm not going to fall apart, right? We all have to take risks, and we're just going to discuss it afterward, okay? So you don't have to fill out the attendance form because you're going to be watching this asynchronously. And then I'd just like to thank you for joining me and for taking the time to watch this video. You can reach me at Eileen@cultivatingthelearning.com. You can also find some interesting blogs on my website. I work with teachers. I coach them in the classroom. So we might have some information that could help you get a leg up so that you don't have to start at ground zero. Okay. And just remember, if you use any of this information, if you're on social media, tag me with the hashtag #CultivateLearn or @CultivateLearn. And then you can also tag ALP Learns. Okay. Thank you very much.